Hey guys, welcome back to our Real Love Scenario. Shout out to all our real lovers out there. We are back with another week of content.
What's up, y'all? Hi, lovers. Hi, real lovers. New and old.
Right?
Yes.
Welcome to the show. If you haven't been here, I'm Dre. This is Rhonda. I don't think we ever
Never
done this
introduced ourselves. Hello.
If you made it this far, welcome. If you've come because a friend recommended, welcome.
Yes.
We are here.
Take
and
your
we
shoes
love
off.
talking
Stay a
about
while.
relationships.
I'm single. Dre's married.
Yes.
Yeah. Anything else we should tell the people? Let's see. You can, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that we're both black.
Yes.
Let's see. I'm a woman, and my pronouns are she, her, and her. Dre's a guy.
And
He
I'm
and
just
him.
the opposite.
Yep,
basically.
the exact opposite of that. I think, what else? Anything else we got?
I think that's good.
I think that's it. And no, Dre is not married to me.
No, because that was something that people,
Yes.
I guess, thought or
yes,
assumed
it comes
at one point.
up. It comes up.
Yeah.
It comes up.
Yo, what was so funny, somebody commented, and this, bless this person's heart, because it was so funny on the Mona episode. Somebody was like, this is Dre and Rhonda? I watched the whole Amanda episode and had no idea that was the same people from the show. And I was like,
it's crazy how people find you. You know, they
Right.
probably watched it because they like Amanda. And it was like, wait, this the Dre and Rhonda from
could
Don't
you
Call Me
imagine
White
like
Girl?
putting it all together like, hold up.
I
Like,
think it
mind
also
blown.
trips me out when people are like, so this is what Dre and Rhonda look like. And I'm like, it has been a long time. If you haven't figured that out by now, but okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is us. This is us. Hey guys, welcome.
Welcome. And if you're listening this week, especially Tuesday when the episode drops, we got our first male guest episode.
Look, I forgot. This is also an audio experience. I'm responding to this with my eyes. I'm very excited.
We're super excited. So make sure you tune into our episode. It'll probably already drop on Instagram by this point, so I'll let you know who it is. We welcome Raheem Devon.
Crooner, R&B sensation, Grammy Award nominated Raheem Devon.
To the Real Love Scenario couch.
Yes, a DMV native.
And it's a great conversation.
Yes, it is. Yes,
For
it
sure,
is.
for
Yes,
sure.
it is.
But shout out to all our real lovers, like we always say, and let's read one of the ratings and reviews
My favorite part.
on Apple.
Yeah.
This comes from Ayo.
Ayo. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it say, right?
Yeah.
Ayo. Can't think of a title, LOL. I enjoy listening each and every time. I love how y'all are able to take a step back and share unbiased perspectives on each relationship scenario. Both of you have insightful and helpful advice for people who are looking for some guidance. Everyone can use some guidance every now and then, and why not by listening to a good podcast? Can't wait for the next episode. Have a blessed one.
Thank you.
Hey, yo. Thank you, yo.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate it. Love
That's
that.
so
Love
good,
that.
so
Love that.
good.
5-star review. Make sure you review, and we'll read your reviews,
That's
on
right.
the show. And make sure when you go into the podcast app, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Apple, hit that little button up top that say like follow. So that
Click
you can
it.
get the episodes,
That's right.
every time they drop.
Wherever you listen, all the things, they all got a little follow, subscribe, download. They got that. Use
it all.
those buttons. We
Free to
appreciate
you
you.
means a lot to us. We appreciate you. All right, so let's get into our real life love scenario today.
Let's.
This one isn't necessarily celebrity based, but this is something that hit a blog, Neighborhood Talk, and we're just going to take a little look on if these things you feel like are true or not.
Yeah.
So this is something that somebody had posted on Twitter, and basically they said how to easily weed out women you shouldn't get with. And I know we have a lot
boy.
of women listeners, so
Yeah.
this should be interesting. Ask her 2 questions. Number 1, what's your music taste like? If she starts mentioning Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion, City Girls, etc., she is not the one. Number 2, I know the dating scene is all messed up, giving her comfort. How many long-term and short-term relationships have you had? If the figure of short-term is higher than long-term, she has to go.
That's crazy.
That is the criteria that this person said. That's all you need, 2 questions. So Rhonda, first, what's your take on these 2 questions? But have you ever broken up or not pursued somebody or a relationship with somebody based off of a petty answer to a question? Like, you know, it's kind of petty, but you're just like, I can't do it.
I'm gonna go with yes for sure, but I cannot think of it. And the reason I keep giggling is because I have done it for like petty things, not necessarily
Well, I know you definitely do it on dating apps. I know all y'all girls do that. Why he ain't never take his hat off? I know that nigga bald.
Yeah, it'd be like little stuff. Like, I know that's like, I try not to be that way. I really push through those little stupid things because I don't want anything dumb keeping me from the love of my life. Like, his hair could be totally fine under that hat. You've got to move forward. It doesn't mean that his hairline is starting in the back of his head. It doesn't mean that. It's okay. Swipe right on the man, okay? But yeah, I think so. I do have certain little quirks. And what's so crazy about the music one, because obviously we love music. If this is your first time here, that's another thing you should know about Dre and I. We love, love, love music. I was in a relationship with someone only one time where like we did not like the same kind of music. In fact, he barely liked music at all. Like, it just wasn't a thing for him. Like, he did not have to have a soundtrack going most of the time. And I literally say that because that's me. It's rare that I'm not listening to something. Mostly music, often podcasts and things like that. But he loved jazz. And I will say he introduced me to a newfound love for it. I appreciated jazz, but I never really loved it. And like, he took me to like some shows and bought me some like vinyls of like Coltrane and Miles Davis. And I was like, okay, like I feel this. But Dre, that was it. That was it. The man didn't like R&B. He did not like hip hop. He knew like one hip hop song.
He didn't like rhythm and blues?
He did not really like rhythm and blues. Like certain songs, yes. Like he would always just like a song. Like he liked September by Earth, Wind and Fire. That's clearly an R&B song. He liked it's a song, I can't think it. Lincoln Network in California.
Oh yeah.
It came out a few years ago.
Colonel Loud.
Yes. Love that song. And he loves one Lil Wayne song. And I'm like, I would sometimes be like, you know who this is? He'd be like, I don't know what it is. It's like they have a song out right now. Like, these were the biggest hit. You showed him a picture of Drake, he probably won't know who it is. So it was hard. I will say it was hard. I clearly dated him. I was in a relationship with him for years, but I still think the question is petty. I don't think you should rule nobody out based on their musical tastes. But I will say it made it hard because I love concerts and shows, and he never really wanted to go to any. He would like encourage me, like, go have fun. I'll even get the tickets, but I'm not going to sit there with you because I don't know anything. So that was tough. I don't like that one. Now the second one, I think is even sillier. I think it's even sillier only because that is very age dependent.
Yes.
And just because I haven't been in a bunch of long-term relationships, that's not all on me.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't been in a long-term relationship in a bit of time. That's not because I don't want to be in one. It's because I haven't found my person. Like, sometimes people are choosing to remain single and not be in little things because they're waiting for the person. That's not something that you should be like, oh, you only had one boyfriend, but you had a bunch of little things that didn't get off the ground. You're bad.
Yeah.
I just think that's unfair. I just think it's unrealistic. Like, you got to talk through that and figure out why that's the case. So
For sure.
I don't know. Especially if you're young. Like, how many relationships were you in before you got married?
One real one.
One. The rest of them was little things.
Yeah.
Little this, little that. Imagine if he was like, I need you to have a 3 relationship minimum. That's crazy. And you're only in your early 20s. So it's like, that's a little silly.
Yeah.
That's a little silly.
No, I agree with the second one. I think that's because what if it's 1 to 0? Like, it's like, yeah, it doesn't make sense. And like you said, that's age dependent.
Yeah.
The music thing is petty, but
You get it.
I get it.
Yeah.
Like, if it was somebody I met and it was like that, falling from the stars, like that like
Heavy metal.
I'd just be looking like, I don't want to be coming out the shower and hear that, or like,
Yeah,
why
that's
you
true.
like that? And
Yeah.
then if you like going to those concerts, I know like the energy, like
I don't know about
I
that.
don't know about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't say the Cardi B Meg Thee Stallion, because I feel like every girl got that version of her
Absolutely.
in her, especially if you're
Yes.
dealing with black women too. It's like, yo, I like that turn up, you know.
Yeah, I like to have
I
fun.
like to twerk a little bit. I like to do, you know. What if she listens to a Dina Howard? You know what I mean?
That could be helpful for you. That could be a good thing for you, my God. I mean, so could really any of those women that you just named. They are also entertainers. So sometimes we
Exactly.
have to detach detach their persona from them. Cardi B is a wife and a mother.
And for sure. And the thing is, like, listen, I've met a lot of people from different backgrounds, and I know people that have guilty pleasures, right? So they
Yes.
would never publicly say like, "Oh, this is what I'm into," but yeah, they watching, you know, I don't know, like the Bernie Macs of the world and stuff like that, to where it's like, "Oh, this is completely inappropriate." I was watching a Bernie Mac special the other day. I was like, "Whoo, if it was now."
Yeah. I just heard that
Heck
about
no.
Dave Chappelle's new show. That it's gonna be like, that's why they take the phones, because like, y'all ain't gonna put us on the shade room.
Like it could be tough. So I don't feel like you should judge somebody off of that.
No.
I think that's just, to me, it's very similar to, and I don't know if you feel this way about the sign thing, like to not give somebody an opportunity just because they have a particular sign.
Zodiac sign,
It's like, you ain't gonna even talk to me. And I had somebody do that before.
Yeah.
So I think all those things are petty. I think that you don't have to fully invest so much into somebody when you're initially having a conversation. You could at least hear somebody out. If you're attracted to them, talk to them and see how they are. You don't have to completely say no to somebody based off of this or that, unless it's a thing to where it's like, you know, you're a very religious person and they just are like, no, I'm an atheist or something like that. Then that's like, all right, from a compatibility standpoint, this just wouldn't even make sense.
Fundamentally, that would never work.
And I applaud people in those moments if you're super attracted to somebody for knowing that, all right, this wouldn't be something that would work. Because if somebody's attractive, you know, we get that glaze. What's that saying? They say, you know, if you wear rose-colored glasses, every flag looks like just a flag. That, you know, once you got those glasses on and you're infatuated, like you start to just forget about everything.
All the things. He don't love Jesus. That's fine. He got 7 kids with 18 women. That's fine. Cool. He look good.
Exactly.
He
so
good. Yeah.
I applaud people who stand in their truth and know what they want.
Yeah.
But I think that's different than somebody's taste in music.
Yes, for sure. For sure. Like, it can be a thing, but I would say mostly not.
Question for you.
Yes.
What do you think about songs that are purely secular, but they try to make them into gospel songs?
Oh, man.
Because I'm not saying they wrong, but it's just I can't vibe to them right. Like, don't start trying to put Jesus over the Knuck If You Buck beat. You know what I mean?
So it's a guy that I started following. He does this. That's why I was like, oh man.
Because I'm in church. We not okay. No.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute. I don't know which, my mind and my body are doing two different things, right? Like it's I'm having a battle, and I like his were done to almost be like funny. It was like when you're, I can't remember, like when the DJ goes to church for the first time and it's just like these funny, and it's you hear the gospel song and you like, okay, on top of Jesus and on top, and then he dropped the beat and you be like, wait a minute. Like it's hard. And his caption is usually like, watch out now, make sure your body is in alignment with your mind. And I'm like, for sure, because I really was about to start twerking. And
you don't want to be in church. Don't like Juvenile start playing that beat. Start
working with, wait, those not the words though. We singing melodies from heaven, but the beat is back that ass up. It's not
mentally. It just can't, like.
Yeah, it's too hard. It's very hard. I enjoy the sound bites on social media. I love, because I just love music, right? Sure. I love the idea that you can take that, blend it with that, and it still sounds dope. But yeah, if that happened during a church service, I would be like, my mind is literally playing the Uncle Luke video, okay? And y'all got Kurt Franklin on this beat on 2 Live Crew.
It's not working.
I'm already fighting for my life. I don't need that. I don't need that. So yeah, it's a little too much for me. And I know you didn't ask me this, but I also do not like, and it's probably because of the religion I grew up in, I don't like when the church pulls too much from the secular world in general.
Yeah.
Like when you, I won't say no names, but there was a pastor that said like when These Hoes Ain't Loyal came out, like he used that as like in his sermon. And I was like, no, baby. Now you could have been inspired by the concept around people not being loyal, but I don't think you should name your sermon that and or use that phrase like some and these hoes ain't loyal. It's like, oh no. I don't. It's a little too far for me.
Oh man.
So yeah, no, it's not
Nah,
my favorite.
these pastors out here.
It gets a little interesting.
Yeah, it get a little interesting when they trying to relate back, and it's like
It's too much relation.
Come on now.
It's a little too much relation.
We go here for the separation.
That's right. There should be some separation. I'm down for us wearing casual clothes, but let's not get too casual with the energy.
Exactly.
All right, let's jump into our real love scenario. This week we hear from Anonymous, another Anonymous. She says, hello, I have found your podcast very helpful in opening my mind on many topics. Thank you for your honesty and transparency. You're welcome.
Thank you.
I have an interesting scenario. I'm a 51-year-old woman in a relationship for 2.5 years now. We have lived together for a year and find this new love refreshing and fun after both having been married, worked on our stuff, and raised our kids. I recently found out he cheated on me a year ago and has maintained a text relationship with this person since then. Many of these conversations reliving their encounter and plans for the next. Side note, I am still in good shape, 5'5" and 140 pounds, and was not withholding sex. I need to also mention he and this person have a history and a grown child together who is 30 years old. I confronted him kindly and then took about a week to decide that I would try to forgive him after he said it was a bad mistake. He didn't think of the text as cheating, but he understood where I came from. I told him a non-negotiable was there was to be no contact, and if she initiated any, he would tell me. He agreed. But am I crazy to believe him? I thought this relationship was it. We made plans, moved out of state, and I gave up a really good job to build our future before finding this out. But I am thinking of the cliche, when they show you who they are, believe them. But is who he was before I found out who he is, or the cheater? I feel bad that I'm questioning everything. He says I can have access to his phone, which I haven't done, because am I really trusting him if I do that? I haven't shared this with anyone because I feel like it's ours to figure out. I ultimately committed to a year of trying to rebuild trust in my heart, but I can't help that I feel mad that after the cheater cheats, the weight now shifts to the other partner to get over and heal from the mess. I asked if there was something more he needed from me, and he says no, it was just a weak moment. I struggled to believe that it was a moment because it was very calculated and planned. I do believe people can change, but I mean, no flowers, no extra sorries, and he's done no reassuring. It's just a little disheartening. He doesn't want to listen to podcasts or anything. I'm just needing some more validation because I feel like I'm working hard on my end. Please help me walk through this as objective outsiders. Am I nuts? Should I just cut my losses and begin a new phase? I've been thinking of moving out and starting over, but separating financially after moving will take quite some time. Ain't nothing but some hard work. Thanks for the uplifting spin you put on even the really tough scenarios. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for like all the love for us. We so appreciate
For
you.
sure.
Seem just like a nice, warm woman. We appreciate you.
And shout out to you being in shape at 51.
Okay.
Still-
She dropped
still, I
she dropped her
got it together.
stats 5'5", 140, and I was putting out. So he can't use that.
But as somebody,
You better-
I feel like that's just an older
We
term.
about to- it is older term. I feel like we about to have a little church spin on this whole situation thanks to the real love life conversation. Oh boy, so crazy, back-to-back cheating situations.
Yeah, and you could tell with the age how they were handled
very differently.
very differently.
For sure.
Even how they were articulated. But that's the you know, the great thing about us and love and how we experience things as we get older.
Yeah.
You have a little bit more perspective on life. So where you want to start?
I think maybe just talking about, because she kind of led with the fact that this was, I don't know about a second stab, but maybe the second time around, kind of feeling like you have found your person. She says that they both were married and they've raised their kids already, so they have adult children. And I feel like when people find love later in life, I perceive that it's probably easier to find it. And because you have all this experience behind you around like what to do better. And so you feel really secure in that second situation. But it's like, is that really a sure shot that you won't deal with things from the past? Is this later in life love a guarantee that it'll be right this second go around?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that, especially when I listen to, it's funny when I did a modeling gig, sometimes for people who don't know, when you do modeling gig, especially commercial stings, and especially if it's like a multi-day shoot, it's a lot of just sitting around.
Yeah.
Because literally they had to light the shot, they had to get the angle, they had to get all the equipment, and then you'll do your thing for a little bit, and then you'll go on to the next thing. Or sometimes you'll be background, so like background, you're not really doing something. But I say it all to say is I had a conversation with one of the women who was acting with me at the time, or who I had a conversation with, and basically this was a similar situation. She didn't have infidelity with the current person that she was with, but she was married, and then she ended up getting divorced, and then she got remarried. And she's like in love. This is the love of her life, but she was a lot older. I gotta show you a picture. She's like stunning as like a older woman. And it was just, I always like hearing these stories, because a lot of people, what led to divorce is just so many different things, right? And when I talk to people, it seems like who are at an older age sometimes currently, when they found their second love, is just the environment and the landscape of what relationships were at the time when they were growing up was a lot different. Yeah. Like, we are now in this day and age all about, we talk about freedom, uplifting, over therapizing things, like, but we have this more idea of a concept of what love should be, or how you should love yourself. Right. Or there's people who are telling you, don't force your way into this, or it's okay if you're single, live your best life, be independent. But a lot of those, older people, people who have a little bit more age, when they were growing up, sometimes they entered into relationships to where it was like, yo, that's a good man. He's taking care of this, and he'll take care of you. And you should enter into that relationship, and people are telling you there's something wrong if you're 24 and don't have a man, or not in a relationship. And it's like, or if you do get pregnant, you gonna embarrass the family, you gonna gotta embarrass marry us, you gotta marry him.
Had no babies out of wedlock.
Exactly. So it's like, I feel like in some situations, that first, even if we want to call it love, is a forced situation. So it's like you're taught to endure or push through for the child, or for your well-being, that you tend to, feel like you sacrifice your love, or truly your choice of who you want to be with. So now when that second thing comes around, you start to be like, oh, this is what I always wanted. This is what I've always been looking for. This is the type of person that I ultimately wanted to be with. And, you may find comfort in that.
Yeah, for sure. I think I agree with you. Damona talked about that on her guest episode, that, that's who she was raised by. So that was kind of her first experience. She was raised by women who were kind of in that experience. Like, they were born in the 50s, growing up in the 70s. You just need to get a man. And so that was her concept. Then growing up in the 90s, same thing. I got to just get a man. I got to just settle down. And so you bring such, perspective to that. While you were chatting, I looked up, and in fact, second marriages actually have a higher divorce rate. Second relationships tend to fail more. And I think a part of that probably too is that you get really settled in what you want and what you like, and you don't have a lot of, your tolerance reduces. That's one thing my mother always told me. She said, baby, the older you get, the lower your tolerance is going to get. I'm telling you about a lot of things in life.
But I probably think I'm going to work with a therapist on this, and we're going to have a therapist on the show.
Yes.
But I think that whenever I write a book, don't take this TM, that when doing the research, maybe we can call a second marriage the fantasy marriage, to where it's like everything you thought you wanted and didn't get out the first one.
Now you're putting that
Now
pressure.
you're putting that on the second one.
Yeah.
And you're building it up to be this thing that is the fantasy, that is something that you didn't get in the first one.
Sure.
And I always say this is that, you know, the grass sometimes is greener on the other side, but it's still grass. And when I say that to people, if you haven't heard me say that before, what I mean is that it's still grass. Like you might get you might be itchy over there. You still gonna get allergies. Like it may be a little bit greener, but it's still grass. Meaning that in a relationship, although you may move on to a relationship with a different person, it's still gonna have relationship problems.
Right.
Like, it's still gonna have its own set of issues. You're not escaping problems.
You're not escaping problems
By moving on to somebody else. They're just going to be a little bit different. They're going to show up differently. How the person may handle you is different. So like I said, the grass could be a little bit greener, but don't think you're escaping problems or that you're not going to deal with hard situations or tough things or the things that normal human beings like do.
Yeah, for sure.
You're going to deal with that no matter who you're with. So,
doesn't matter.
you know, I think that maybe there is something to not being able to stick through things. But yeah, I'm maybe coining that to be like the fantasy relationship. Yeah.
And I think there is honestly a misconception that because people get older, they're getting better. I think that is what should be happening, but that's not always the case. Everyone isn't maturing because they're growing in age.
Some people getting better, some people getting bitter.
Is that okay? Okay. You better say that. Amen. Some of them really, really are. And I think, you know, if I just place myself sometimes in the scenarios, right? Like if I was 51 and I'm going to assume that he's probably around the same age because she said they both were previously married and he has a 30-year-old child with someone. So I'm assuming that he's older too. I think I would expect for certain things to have been put behind you. But I know realistically, understanding human beings, that's just not always the case. Sometimes someone hasn't done something in their past because there was not opportunity to, there was not option to. They never encountered that thing. So they may be just as tempted to do bad things or make bad decisions at 55, 60 as the person who's struggling with it at 25 and 27 or 32. It's all really case by case and person dependent. So would I be frustrated? Yes, because I would feel like we're coming down to the, you know, second half of life that you have what they say more years behind you than ahead of you, depending on where you are in that, or if you somebody that's gonna live till you 120, she about at the halfway mark. And it's like, yeah, we did certain things and you probably were single for a certain amount of time. And it's just like, I'm not saying we can't have problems, but infidelity, like, do we gotta be having that as the problem? It would very much frustrate me to be cheated on no matter what. But I think, yeah, at 51 and you 50 something, I'll be like, bruh.
Yeah, it's more like, come on, man.
Come on, man. Like, no shade, but come on, stop with this because it's just like we should be doing things like life getting easier is a part of getting older, right? This is why you're coming towards retirement. You become an empty nester. You finish the heavy lifting of raising children. So everything should start to feel like it's coasting down and grooving into an ease of life. I don't want this. Like, I don't want this. But then taking it a step further, there's this narrative, and I know you've heard it, or maybe I should just ask you, have you heard this idea that like men can always sleep with their kids' moms? Like they can always revisit that.
I've heard people say that.
Okay. What do you think about that?
I don't think that's, like I said, I'm not an absolutes person.
Okay.
So you can't say always. I do. And the thing is that once you start learning more and more about people's situation, you learn that people come upon pregnancy and co-parenting in so many different ways.
Yes.
Yeah. Those people cannot like each other at all. And it's just one night that it happened. I think why people feel that way, and I get that perspective, not the always, but I think why people feel that way is that a lot of times once we know we're pregnant, you know, set aside the belief system, but women have the ability, if they didn't want to have this child, to have an abortion or something of that nature, right? So a lot of perception is that if a woman is choosing to keep the baby with
Yeah.
a man that she doesn't technically want to be with, or there is no relationship present, is because she's maybe using it as a way to still stay connected to said man.
Yeah.
So that could be the perception that people have, and that's why they have that. Because if men could get abortions, then there'd probably be way less babies.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. If they could fully control it a little bit
If
more.
they could control it a little bit
Yes.
more, then there'll probably be less. And I do know there are situations there where women use that as tools to do that.
Yeah.
And I do know there are situations to where people claim something as theirs. So even if somebody comes in new, it's like, I'm just gonna mark my territory to let you know I could still like
Always,
anytime. Like, you know what I mean? So I think all those factor in, but I can't say always, but I do hear that narrative, and I think that's why you may hear it.
Yeah, I've heard it. I know some people that do have that very weird, like toxic relationship with their kids' other parent. And it's not just men. It's also, you know, some women that I know that like, if they wanted to, they really could. And they don't have a desire to be with the person, because if they did, they probably would be together.
Yeah.
It's just like, if I need a little boop boop, I could get a boop boop from over here. You know, they always gonna make their sex available to me. Or at this time in our lives, we can always revisit that. That could very well change if I get with somebody, if they get with somebody, that could totally change. But I've certainly heard it, and I've also just experienced it with just people that I know. I don't think I would have guessed, again, going back to age, that you slide back to your child's mother from 30 years ago. And I don't know if this was maybe his wife. This was the person that he was married to for a long time. And that relationship may have ended more recently. You know, we're missing that piece of information.
Well, she said
here.
they only been together for 2.5 years, right?
Right. So it says that he was previously married. Was he married to this child's mother? If he was, and that child is 30, was he with this woman for 20 years, 30 years? Like, that could have been his last relationship. That could really be his ex, or it could not be his ex and just his child's mom. That piece I wish we knew.
For sure.
Because I think that provides some color. But yeah, that right there, I think when you cheat with someone that you have a great deal of history with, for me, that makes it worse. And especially if it's someone that you know you will probably still see because you share a child together. And granted, the child is 30, right? So you're not going to see them at like graduations and stuff, but y'all might share a grandchild at that point. So you're going to be at the grandbaby's birthday parties, or if it's a holiday and maybe you all do some form of holiday together. Cheating with someone that we can't fully remove is just like hard.
Yeah, and I think that I agree. It does feel a little bit more personal. And like, if you take into account, let's say you cheat with somebody random, right?
Yeah.
I would think that person just slept with you either because you didn't let them know that you were in a relationship, or they were just purely physically attracted to you. And they were just like, yo, I want to do this. Versus if it's a situation like that with your baby mom, I'm like, I don't even know if she may not even really want you like that. She just effing with me and just trying to send a message to me. Like, or she just trying to manipulate this relationship that we have. Like, it just seems like all these other factors start to come into play to where it's like, nah, like this ain't just like, oh, I'm physically attracted. I feel like this person is really trying to mess with me.
Yeah. And I think that's where she's getting it from, where I cannot stand when people say that cheating is a mistake. Right? Like, it is a conscious decision. Now, you may not have wanted to get caught. Obviously, you may also not want to deal with my feelings once I find out about it. But we don't fall upon cheating. You know, a mistake is like, it's a glass on the table and I'm talking and my hand hits the glass. Like, I didn't have intention to do that. That just happened.
I think that might be an accident, what you're describing.
Okay.
Versus a mistake is something that you just did wrong.
Okay. Got it. So
that's the way I view it.
That's how you view it. Okay.
Yeah.
I still don't use that with me. Like, say you made a bad decision Maybe that is the alternative. Like that's a synonym
For a
for,
mistake.
yes, because something about that makes me feel like when you say,
What
it was
about
just
moment
a,
of weakness?
that's true. I
Okay,
think
you get
because
it.
I do think it takes fortitude and discipline to be faithful. That is a choice and it is a decision. It may some days be a very easy decision because you didn't run into any temptation. Some days it might have been a hard decision because you went to go pick up your grandbaby and you saw your ex and she was looking real nice and you like, I'm not gonna cheat. I'm not even gonna speak to her. I'm just, how you doing? Okay, yep. I'm gonna get out of it. Some days that's a harder decision.
For sure.
But it's still a choice. So yes, I think when you aren't staying up against that, it is weak. You fell victim to the temptation. You fell weak to your desire to go and explore it. I would rather that than an accident or a mistake. But I hear you. You're right. A mistake is still a choice, but just a choice you probably shouldn't have. Well, not probably. You should not have done. You shouldn't have done.
Let me tell y'all, if y'all watch this show, y'all know how hard it was for me not to interrupt Rhonda and start.
Why? The moment of weakness?
She keeps saying weak. I wanted to break out. My heart starts beating triple times with thoughts of loving you on my mind.
We about to be on the music chart too. Just put the podcast on
I
in the music.
get so weak in the knees. I can hardly speak. I lose all control.
That's the type of weak moment I
basically-
want. You be weak like that. Don't be weak with that with out here with these other women.
That's how he felt when he saw his baby mother. His heart started beating triple times, and he thought about them times that he was loving her. She was loving him. It was on his mind.
No, don't be weak with me. Don't be weak with them. I don't like that. I don't like that. But yeah, I think that's probably her thing where she's like, dog, this is not an accident or this is not a mistake. This was a choice. Y'all set this up. You planned it and you did it.
Well, this is the thing here. Is that whenever we go through something in life, we all make mistakes or have accidents or things that happen. A lot of times the response that somebody has to you is based off of how remorseful you come off when you do something wrong. When you're wrong, it's almost like somebody's like, convince me that you feel bad about what you did and you are sorry.
Yeah.
But if you just acting like,
I just made a bad mistake.
I just spilled a glass of water. You acting like it ain't nothing. Like it's just like, I slipped up, my bad.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna do it again. But then it's like she said, no flowers. Like you don't seem remorseful at all. What that feels to me is like you would do it again.
Yeah.
You don't care. You didn't feel like it was that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like if you don't feel like something's that big of a deal, then you're liable to do it again.
And you're underestimating the damage that causes. We've talked about, because many of our scenarios are based and rooted in infidelity, or that comes up. That's a recurring theme because cheating is quite common, especially these days. But when you minimize or you diminish the psychological impacts that cheating has on the person who got cheated on, that is a recipe for disaster. You might think that you can just explain it away, like you said, with this, oh, it was just a weak moment, it was just a mistake. When the person who got cheated on is inherently thinking that they did something wrong. Like even if they later rationalize and know, like, I didn't do anything wrong, I was a good partner, I did show up. What they decided to do is their own decision. Most people don't get there for some time, if ever. We instantly think that, what didn't I do? Like, I've been cheated on. I've cheated. And in both situations, I felt like, oh my gosh, like, does he not really like me? Did I do this? Is it my body? Is it that I gained a little weight? Did I lose too much weight? Like, was I not as attentive? Was I working too much? And the same for him. He felt like, what am I not doing? Like, I'm showing up for you. I'm here. Why would you go and choose someone else? Bringing someone else into your household just because you wanted that is very much it's world crushing. And it's not that it can't be recovered from, but it is world crushing. It very much feels like, now even I got to look over my shoulder. You tell me you going to do this. Are you really going to do that? Is that what's really happening? And that's why I say, when you do it with someone that you are permanently connected to, like the mother of your child, I don't want to feel like you can't have a positive relationship with this person, even though the child is 30. Like, most people want their parents to get along. That if I wanted to have my mom and her new person and my dad and his new person over for dinner, that's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Everybody's good. Everybody's grown. But now, am I really going to feel comfortable going to your kid's house with their mama who you cheated on me with? Not only am I not going to feel comfortable, I'm going to now say that you can't go.
Exactly.
And that should not have to.
It's weird.
It's just now weird.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Of course, you've heard of the 5 stages of grief, right?
Yes.
So for those who don't know, the 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and the last is acceptance. And I've read some things on this, and sometimes it doesn't happen all at the same time or in the same order. Sometimes you get past one and then you may double back to it again.
Yeah.
But there essentially are the different areas that you, or different emotions that you experience, or different stages that you experience when you're dealing with grief. And I'll say first with this is that a lot of times when you cheat on somebody, they enter into the grieving process. And I read this before and I thought it was so powerful. And it's like they're grieving the life they thought they had with you.
Yeah.
So what the person that they thought you were, the life that they thought they had, is no longer the case. So they are grieving that life, but it's like grieving when somebody's dead is one thing, but grieving the life you thought you had, or the person you thought you had, when they're still there in front of you, it's like a whirlwind of emotions, because you go through all those stages. Like you go through maybe the denial of like, oh, like this can't be happening. Like there has to be a reason, or, you know, and then you start the anger, like that's the part. And then the bargaining, and then the depression, and you hope to at some point get to the acceptance of it. But it's like, it's truly a grieving process, because you a lot of times didn't think that this person was even capable of doing these things to you. The people that I feel like are okay with their person cheating and like get past it, I still feel like they have somewhat of an expectation that like this could happen with my person. So it's like, I'm not truly surprised by like,
or you did it before, so
or you did it before,
again.
so it's like you're doing
crazy.
it again. But if you take somebody who never ever thought that you would do this, you now somewhat become a different person, because although you may go through certain, like we all have argued with people, we all have had anger, you know, have had, you know, frustration with people, gotten angry at people, maybe have even fought and gone to blows with people. But what if you found out that the person that you're angry with or frustrated with has actually murdered somebody before? Your perception on now, you just knowing that they're capable of going that far with it, now change your whole perception of who they are. And I think that's the same thing with cheating. Is like, you know that I'm going to argue with you. You know we're going to have our issues. We know we're going to have our pushback. I feel like that's kind of the normal sense of a relationship, and we argue, we go back and forth. So I feel like I still have an understanding of who you are. But then when you go to cheating, now it's like, I never thought you would take it that far. So now I feel like this is a completely different person. I understand anger and being attracted to people and all these things are normal human emotions, but the fact you took it there, who am I talking to? And what's the limit now then? You know?
And then you also like really place what you do with this person when they cheat. You start to have, at least I did, have this vivid imagination around like how you all are intimate
and how they were.
You just, your mind jumped straight there. Like, so what you do with me, you did that with
That's
them?
what will make it hard with me. I remember we asked that question before in a past episode, emotional versus physical. And I was like, for me, I feel like it's emotional, because imagining you doing that
with them, the physical is harder for you.
It's like, what?
Right.
And you struggling with kissing you, like, hey, babe, like, nah,
it's
that
a lot.
just feel completely disrespected.
Yeah, it's a lot. And so in this situation, you got the combo, you got the 1-2 knockout, you physically had sex with someone that you probably were emotionally connected to, and based on the fact that you keep text messaging and you keep reliving and replaying the moment, and also planning for it to happen again. You are like, my brain is like, poof. Like, I literally don't know. And then you add these elements that she talks about where like she relocated. She left her
Yeah,
job. She, all of those are very big decisions to say, you are it for me. I'm adjusting my life and you're adjusting your life and we're making a life together. So I'm doing this with you, having this new, lease on life, finding love older, which for some people you feel like you can't do that. The older you get, the world will tell you that, one, a lot of people who are older, they have a hard, and they go through a divorce or a breakup, they have a harder time getting back in a relationship. So then you get that, and then you move, and then you do all these things, and then it's like your action, your weak moment, your mistake, it now has all of these layers because I didn't even maybe think that I would have this love again. And I most certainly didn't think that you would cheat, but then you cheated with your child's mom. And I left my job for this, and I'm living with you.
for sure.
And if I wanted to leave, I actually really can't, because I'm in a place that I'm away from my support system and I'm away from the comfort of the money that I had from the job that I had. This is so very much to handle. And then you have the nerve to really be walking around here not doing all of the work that the fine gentleman from last week's episode was doing, taking all the steps. The guy who was in the therapy and opening up his phone. And this guy did also say that she could go on his phone if she wants to, but you're not being reassuring. And one of the biggest things to recovering from infidelity is an exceptional amount of reassurance. And it's the thing that I think will make or break your ability to recover from infidelity. If you cannot commit to rebuilding trust, which is essentially operating as if there is none, you will not be able to bounce back from infidelity. It is checking in, overly checking in. It is never not allowing your words to not align with your actions for a significant period of time, probably. It is saying, babe, I'm telling you, it was not you. It was not you. It had nothing to do with you. You are the love of my life. You are doing everything right. What I decided to do with her has nothing to do with you. It is making sure you're paying more attention to paying compliments. Not that you maybe don't already, but again, it's doubling down, it's tripling down on certain behaviors so that you can basically pour life back into your relationship, because infidelity, it instantly robs your relationship of so many things. And so, yes, it's a lot of work. And if you're the only person, Anonymous, doing the work, and he's just kind of like, I mean, I did it. Okay, it's fine. I'm not gonna do it no more. I'm not talking to her. I deleted the message. Here's my phone. That's not enough.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think that understanding, I think pushing the person who cheated on the why is so important. Like, just saying it was a mistake and trying to move on from that is like, nah. I haven't got cheated on, but I feel like for me, that wouldn't do it. Like, it was just a mistake. Like,
What led you to the mistake?
What led you?
Yeah.
Because there may be something there, an insecurity in you that I cannot satisfy. It's like sometimes, when you have a niece or grandparents have a grandchild, to where everything's cool when you get them for a little bit. But if you with them every day, then it's a completely different responsibility. And it's like, sometimes because of the insecurity of the person that you're dealing with, what they may ask from you, you're not willing to give the amount of praise or the amount of, just, even if it's just physical, like adoration of like how amazing you are.
Yeah.
You might be looking as a wife or something like this is ridiculous. I'm not acting like I worship the ground you walk on every single day. I'm going to treat you like a king. I'm going to treat you like my man. But somebody who is outside of our relationship, who doesn't live with you, who's not part of our daily responsibilities, they can easily tell you, oh, you're just the best sex I've ever had in my life, and you just so amazing, you just the best looking. Like, they can feed your ego, right? And if that's what you
they
feel
didn't
like,
see you picking your nose on the couch,
if that's what you feel like you need, and they also don't experience none of your negatives, right?
Yep.
They don't experience that. So if that's what you feel like you need in order to feel good, like, and you're saying, well, if you just did those things for me, it's like, all right, like, some of this stuff that you asking for, that's just not something that I can do or willing to do, because it's just not realistic.
Yeah.
If you need your ego fed or you need your insecurities fed so much in this absurd, just
Yes.
crazy way, then maybe this is not a situation that, that will work out for us. And like I said, it may be unfortunate, but I think understanding the why and pushing on like what led you to this, because everybody has a why. I don't care what nobody say. People could be like, oh, it was just a mistake. It was a moment of weakness. No, there's a why.
It's a why.
Especially when you talk about physical, that's calculated. Like you said, that's thought went behind that, effort went behind that. And
100%.
you talking about this wasn't an accident, fell into it. He continuing to talk and following up for the next thing. It ain't a mistake. Like, oh, I just made a mistake.
Just had a one wild
Just
night.
had a one. No, it's like, no, this is actively pursuing this situation
Very
and trying
much
to
so.
figure out what's going on. So just mistake, that ain't enough.
Yeah.
I need to know why. I moved my life. I've invested so much into this relationship, and I thought we were on the same page with things.
Yeah.
But obviously we're not. I don't feel like physically I'm not giving you the things that you desire. I feel like I'm keeping myself up. What is going on? Because I need to know. I'm not going to sit here and waste my time. And then on the other side of that is that you're seeing how much this is bothering me, and you still don't seem to be super remorseful about it. You still don't seem to be like, I'm fighting for this, or I really messed up. You're operating in a way like, guess it is what it is. I'm gonna let you know right now, what you're doing ain't doing it for me.
Yeah.
So we need to have a conversation, because if there ain't no real remorse or being like, I'm sorry, or not feeling, any guilt or anything with this situation, then what I thought you felt about me, obviously that has changed now after this situation. But even more, if you don't seem like you're trying to fight for this situation, or you're really truly sorry for what you did, then maybe you're not the person I thought you were. And at the end of the day, even though I'm 51, it makes more sense for me to cut my losses now versus, staying in this situation even longer.
Speaking of the why, Psychology Today said that infidelity is often associated with the following reasons: previous cheating, relationship boredom, dissatisfaction, duration expectations during breakup. So like those little in-betweens, it's usually when things happen and one person thinking it's supposed to be this and another's thinking that. And then the last one is low frequency or poor quality sex. Those are the primary reasons why people cheat. So yes, there's usually always a why. It doesn't have to even be any of these, but it's never just I was on a whim and I just helped myself into a little conundrum with her.
You know what's funny?
What?
And so ironic and crazy?
What?
And I know some of y'all experienced it, is that people sometimes will feel like they are doing a better service to you by cheating than telling you the truth about why they want to cheat.
That is it. That's it.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Instead of telling you like the sex ain't hitting like it need to be, I'm just going to cheat.
I'm just gonna get it from somewhere else. I'm gonna let you just give me the bad sex.
I'm not going to even tell you because I don't want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
And cause a ruckus.
Because you don't think cheating on me will hurt my feelings. Wow. I'd
it's
rather
crazy
deal
how
with the
people-
sting of, baby, you got to get your ride better. You're not getting your
It's
ride
crazy how
together.
people rationalize that though,
Yeah.
right? It's like,
Yes.
yeah, I ain't gonna tell you because
Yes.
that might that's mean, and I don't want to hurt your feelings. So
Yep.
I'm just going.
I'm gonna just go and get it and just cover my tracks real good. I will say this about her, just a little bit, because we both kind of felt that same feeling after we read the scenario, that like she's just like, just warm. They've been together for 2.5 years, and she says she found out he cheated a year ago. So he cheated after 1.5 years into the relationship, give or take. And you have been, I'm assuming, navigating this lack of remorse for some time. You've been in that swing of it for a year. And one thing I will also say about, if he's again in his 50s, he was born in the 70s. Like my mom, who was born in the 50s, but, was adulting in the 70s. The way that they think and process emotions and things is very different than how they are processed in general today. We talk about how we have much easier access to therapy and all the different things that we can just easily get today, and how we're much more cognizant of why we make certain decisions, and we want to unpack things, and we go through the exercise of doing that today, millennials and pretty much after. But you got them aunts and uncles, them 60s, them 50s and 60s and 70s babies, that's just not a thing for them. Like, they just want to be like, all right, I did it, I'm sorry, and move on. They don't always necessarily appreciate the importance of unpacking. And he is of a generation where, yes, probably dealing with his emotions or trying to figure out where cheating came from is not of importance to him. And it's potentially because he's never been given space to do it. It could be because he was, again, reared by a man or by a family member that said, toughen up. You a man. You don't have no emotions. You apologize when you mess up and you get back on and you keep going. So maybe he doesn't have the wherewithal to even know how to do that. But I will say, if someone is refusing to even open their mind to help, to even say, hey, I have a problem and I don't know how to deal with it. Like she said, it sounds like she's tried to give him some podcasts to listen to, plug, real love scenario, but he's refusing to do that. He just sounds like a stubborn man that you probably are trying to get blood out of a turnip. And you sound like a person, again, that's warm and like you're trying to massage this and you're trying to work through it. And he's just like, no, it's nothing. She even asked him, is it something else I could be doing? And he's like, no, you good. And it's like, okay, that's me trying. Like, okay, finish that sentence. No, it's nothing else that you could be doing. Are you asking me that because I cheated on you a year ago? Babe, I promise you, it's me. It's things that I need to be doing. It's things that I need to be working on. You know what? Let's listen to that show together, or let me call somebody, or figure out how to do this. Or better yet, return serve the same question, sir. Is there something that I could be doing? And then that gives you the room to be like, yeah, some flowers every once in a while would be really nice. Or you reassuring me that you don't have this inappropriate relationship. The woman even really wants to trust him.
Yeah,
she won't
do.
even go in his phone because she's like, that's not trust.
Yeah.
You're very sweet, ma'am.
Very, very
You're
sweet.
very, very sweet. And I think he knows that. And that's probably why he doesn't feel like he has to rise to the occasion, because you've given him a very soft place to land in his mistake.
I mean, some people feel like that. Like, basically how they tie everything up is like, what's she gonna do?
Right.
What's she gonna do? Where's she gonna go? Some people feel that way.
Yeah.
I think one thing that I rarely hear talked about when we talk about infidelity and cheating is the word betrayal.
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the biggest like emotions behind why it's so hard to truly move on from cheating.
Yeah.
And I think with betrayal, there becomes a feeling of injustice.
Yeah.
And when somebody feels like they have, are in a situation where something is unjust, then I think you tend to get, some retaliation and resentment that gets built. And that's what I think makes it so hard to move on from.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, just imagine anybody who's listening, that feeling of being betrayed. Like, it's not just, like I said, the accident or you didn't mean to do it. Seeing the ongoing conversations and seeing you making an effort to continue to keep this relationship going, I feel betrayed.
Yes. It's all of I saw someone say on a show one time, she's like, it's not even really that you cheated. It's all the lying that you did to do it. It's all the sneaking and the hiding and the deception and the smiling in my face or telling me you were here when you were really there. And those to me are the things that align with betrayal. It's all of the moving pieces. It's the deleting the remembering to delete the messages. It's a lot of work that goes into yeah. So that's why, okay, my guy, you really do have to. You have to make the effort. And I'm talking to him because I'm very much hoping that maybe this writing in was her way of getting him to listen to this episode. She could be like, hey, you should listen to this one. And he like, wait a minute, they talking about us. That
hey,
if how you doing? You weren't right. You gotta stop that. If you really want to salvage a relationship with this woman, she's almost crying out to stay with you and be with you, but she wants to feel like she's with a person who understands the weight of the betrayal of infidelity and also is committed to showing her through action and words that you really, really want to do the right thing. Because breaking up is a lot. It's a lot to deal with emotionally, but when she talked about like financially, like once you get that joy of splitting money, splitting income with somebody, like that is
it's a different life.
That's a different life. Y'all hear me say all I miss it badly. Okay. I do not want all of my money to go to all of my bills. I want to not just share my life with someone. I want to share all of it. I want to be like, you got this, I got that. Okay, great. You know what I'm saying? Like I want that. So thinking about if you go through a breakup, how will you financially deal with that?
Yeah.
Will you be able to find a place in the same town? Do you even want to do that? Maybe she says she quit her job. I don't know if she got another job or she's just fully staying at home and he's completely supporting.
For sure.
That's just a lot to deal with, man. So
I just think something that is the theme here, and I want people to understand, is I said this, I don't know if I said this last episode or I said this earlier in this episode, is that forgiveness is is different than forgetfulness. And forgiveness is not forgetfulness. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And I want to read the definition of forgive and what that means. And it's stop feeling anger or resentment towards someone for an offense, flaw, or mistake. That, what I just read, is an internal thing.
Yes.
It's not stopping someone from feeling resentment towards you. It's not stopping someone from feeling anger towards you. It's stopping the feeling of anger or resentment towards someone.
Yes.
So you forgiving someone is less about them. It's not really about them at all.
Yeah, it really isn't.
It's about you and your ability to move on, because I don't think you could truly move on from a situation or a person unless you truly forgive them, because it will always live, as we always say, rent free in your mind, because you haven't gotten past or stopped feeling anger or resentment. If you're feeling anger or resentment for somebody, it's hard to move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
But although you can forgive somebody, that doesn't mean that you forget, which means that you can forgive and leave. You can forgive somebody, move past it, let bygones be bygones. We agreed to disagree. I didn't forget.
I didn't forget.
And I am choosing myself first to say, I'm not going to even risk putting myself in a situation like this again with you. So I'm choosing to move on.
Yeah.
And then now when I go into my next relationship, this will be something that I learn from because I didn't forget it, but it won't be something that holds my next relationship down because it's unforgiven.
That's right. That's it. And I know that definition is solid, and obviously it is internal, but where the external person comes to play is that they can help. You can help my process, or at least not take away from it. It made me think about like court, like when someone is on trial and they are found guilty, and then there's a secondary hearing for sentencing. Oftentimes in sentencing, the person who was convicted of the crime has an opportunity to plead to the judge. A part of that is so that the judge can try to reason and determine, is this person remorseful for what they did? And they use that person's statement and the statements of others who know them, love them, support them, to determine if, should I give them the maximum penalty, which is whatever for that crime, or do I really believe that they understand the weight of what they did, which allows me to punish them less or perhaps not punish them at all? It's kind of the same thing in the relationship. I have to forgive you on my own accord. I have to come to terms with that completely on my own. But what are you doing to help to make me feel like forgiving you would not be a regret of mine?
Exactly.
Staying with you after the forgiveness. Let me clarify that. Staying with you after forgiving you won't be a regret, because you truly are sorry for what you did. You feel guilty for what you did. You feel remorse for what you did. And if you're not interested in doing that, you should walk away. And if you are a person who is not getting that, and that's something that you need, in fact, it's something that you deserve. You deserve that. You shouldn't even be asking for a person to feel remorseful for something that they did to you. Please feel bad about it. You should not be begging them to feel bad. They should feel bad. And if they don't, that is, the writing is on the wall. My only caveat to him, like I said, is he comes from a generation where a part of the reason why he could be so cold about the remorse is potentially because getting in touch with his emotions is foreign to him. That could very much be like, I said I was sorry. You know, I've dealt with people where it's like, well, I said I'm sorry, but it's like, but did you? You said the words I'm sorry, but are you sorry?
I feel that, but I also don't want to give him a pass because he's lived too much life. He lived too much life, and obviously this isn't even his first relationship.
No,
so it's like somebody was probably requesting it of you. I would say even way before then, you just chose not to do that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, older people are just it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. It's true. Older people emotionally, this is why sometimes you go through stuff with your parents and you gotta look back and be like, you deserve grace. Because you really not even gonna apologize for that. Even after I told you and I've unpacked that was hard for me, you like, well, I did my best. You came out just fine. Look at you. I mean, I'm sorry.
You ever see them reels of like black parents apologizing?
Listen, the struggle.
Come in the door. And it's like, I'm about to go grab some food. What you want? You want something?
That's not an apology.
Or like the one was like, you said you want that new PlayStation, right? It's in the car right now. You want it? You sure? All right. Okay.
That's crazy.
And it's like,
that's what I mean.
You won't say sorry though.
You won't say sorry.
You won't say my bad. I'm sorry.
You would rather just buy me a PlayStation than get in touch with your emotions to apologize because you came from these generations where it was like emotions just wasn't a thing, huh? Got it. All right. I don't like that. I want a heartfelt apology always if you did something wrong to me, not just throwing the words I apologize at me. So
yeah, and I
you sweet lady.
One thing about, as we end this, the thing I don't get, the thing I never got about people not wanting to apologize to other people is that there is an action, but there's also how you made somebody feel when you did something. So I don't get why people struggle so hard to apologize for how they made somebody feel.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you or my wife, for instance, right? Not Rhonda, but
right. Just to clarify at the beginning, we're using this as a hypothetical.
If you're my wife and you're saying something I did or something I said made you feel hurt or made you feel upset or made you angry or made you frustrated, as your husband, nothing that I do am I ever trying to make you feel hurt, frustrated, upset, or angry.
Yes.
I don't mind apologizing for that because that's not my intention. I don't get why people struggle to apologize for things that aren't their intention.
No,
like I can separate like, okay, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. I shouldn't have said it in that way. And if the way I said it made you feel hurt or made you feel like I was attacking you, I'm sorry, because that was not my intention.
Right.
Now we have this thing that we have to still figure out, but I acknowledge that if I would have said it differently or if I would have communicated it in a better way, then it could have resulted in a better outcome for us, right?
Bing.
But I'm not going to not apologize for making you feel some type of way that wasn't my intention.
Sure.
So I don't get why people struggle with with apologizing for something they didn't intend to do.
I don't understand.
And it's like, yo, you hurt me when you said that. Well, I ain't apologizing because it's the truth. So
I ain't mean to hurt you.
But you did. And you don't understand how how apologizing can lay the weapons down. It's like, yo, I'm sorry. And then it could put somebody like, okay.
Yes.
Like, because a lot of times when it comes to apologies, people just want you to know how you made them feel.
That's it.
They just want you to know how you made them feel. And when you acknowledge that in the truth of how you made them feel, that makes them be like, okay, they get it. And I now feel like there's a path forward. Yeah. But a lot of times where people get stuck or end up breaking up is because somebody truly doesn't feel like you get it.
Yes.
You don't get it.
You don't get it.
You don't get it.
And you're literally refusing to get it.
You're refusing. Yeah. It's
I'm explaining it to you and you're like, no. No. That is one of the worst feelings when you are in partnership. It made me think about this this excerpt. I think his name is Michael or Michelle Clark. I saw this and I want to read it because it's so fitting to what you're saying. It says, listen to people when they tell you how your actions are affecting them. Your intent matters, but your impact does too. Listen, right? Trying to wash away an apology because you didn't mean to do it is a waste of time. I have apologized when I didn't do what they said I did.
For sure. Just to keep the peace.
Just to keep the peace. Just because I know that you're saying to me, that's what you want. That's what you're saying you need. It doesn't mean any, that doesn't mean anything. I'm not going to lose sleep over saying to you, baby, I apologize. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. Absolutely. And literally just stopping there. I'm very sorry. If there's anything else I can do to make this better, let me know. Like I sincerely apologize. Certainly didn't mean to do that, but it doesn't matter. It hurt you regardless of what I meant to do. And I apologize for that.
You know what?
That will disarm somebody so fast.
Sure.
Well, I'll be to take these clothes off, boy. Come on, that's all I needed. Apology.
You know, one thing I learned is if you apologize enough for something and you're genuine about it, then sometimes you won't even have to apologize for it anymore in the future.
Nope.
And what I'm telling, like, say for instance, this is an example of that, is some people just have and make certain faces, right? Mm-hmm. You don't even know you're making it.
Mm-hmm. I'm one of those people.
But it's like your person could tell you like, yo, like I said something and when you said it, like the face you gave me just made me feel like put off by it or whatever.
Yeah.
And you just like, I'm sorry, like I'll work on it. But sometimes it's my face. Like I ain't trying to do it. Like, but I'm so sorry I didn't make you feel that way. And then sometimes in the future you may make the face again, but then it'll
never come up again.
They're like, that's just them.
That's just what
they ain't mean to do it. Yes. Like, and I know my person now, but you just acknowledging it and saying like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it means so much. And one thing that helps me too, and what Bree and I, when we apologize or talk to each other about things when we're upset, is there's such a like power in like telling somebody when you're upset, but you're not upset at them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, because a lot of times when you're upset or you're in a mood or something like that, especially if this is our first interaction with one another, I think I did something wrong.
Yeah.
Or I messed up. And the times where Bree has come to me and be like, I'm sorry, I'm not upset at you. I just had a long day or something just was bothering me. That disarms me and makes me like, okay, I ain't do nothing wrong. Now it puts me in the mindset of, what can I do to help her be better or feel better or get in a better mood?
Yeah.
But if you're going around all upset and you know you're acting different, but you don't apologize to your partner, sometimes for just your behavior of like, I know I'm acting a little wild today, or I know I'm low energy today, or Bree, like I love Bree because she apologizes for so many things, and I try to do the same. Like I said, apologizing for low energy. I just want to let you know it's not that I'm not excited about this.
Yeah.
You even did that to me as a friend when I text you about something and you were going through something. You're like, hey, listen, I'm sorry. It's not that I am not met with the same energy or anything like that. I'm just going through something.
Yeah.
Those things like that, those apologies, that's part of communication, but it really impacts people in their relationship with you.
Because I don't want anybody to be confused about what they're seeing or what they're experiencing or what they're hearing, especially because most of us communicate with an intention to receive a certain communication back.
For sure.
And if you know you're not in a space to serve that back, you do need to reassure them that it has nothing to do with you. It's very much the it's me, it's not you, it's me thing. Going through grief. It's like you sent me, your timing of sending me this amazing message of just gratitude and appreciation and celebration just happened to come at a really bad time for me. So it's like, I literally can't even fake this right now, Dre, because I'm bawling my eyes out and my dog is dead. And, yeah, but I'm going to come back. I'm going to spin the block when I get my feelings together. But I hear you. I appreciate you. And I'm going to come back to this. Just give me a little bit. That just goes a really long way in relationships. And so we hear you and we really appreciate you, right? And then I think you just need to revisit this conversation with him maybe once and for all to say, hey, You know, whether it's a generational thing, whether it's because this is your second time around, whether it's because you just don't see this mistake as significant as I do, or you don't fully understand the weight that it's having on me. You don't understand what I need from you, but I need this in order to feel comfortable staying here. I need to feel like you feel bad, and I need us to spend some time on why it happened and how to move forward. I think give him that one more go and see how he responds to that. You know, we are all about trying to save love and have good love,
sure.
but we will also be really clear to be like, the writing's on the wall. So give him one more little hard push
For
in
sure.
the right direction.
I agree with everything Rhonda said. You're not nuts for the feeling that you feel.
No.
And we'll end it here with, old cliche.
Is it a song?
No, it's not a song.
Okay. Let's get ready to see.
But it's basically aligned with what Rhonda had said. You can lead that horse to the water. That's what Rhonda talking about. She lead him to the water. Bring him right up to the edge of the water. But you know what you can't do?
Can't make him drink it.
Can't make him drink it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some people be trying to force that head in the water, like you're gonna drink this water, but you can't make them drink it.
She like,
yeah. Well, as you know, we reached our time here. Thank
sorry,
you,
guys. If you don't know the reference of pushing the head down, just if you do, you know. Sorry. Yo, you literally did the same movement. So sorry. Thank you for writing it. If you want to write in, go to our website, relationshiprestore.com. Click the contact button right into the show. Follow us on social media. Ronnie Cakes.
As Jay Smith.
And Relationship Restore. We'll see y'all next week for more giggles and songs.